Assalamu alaikum, this is Jawaria Ai Wali from Rehan School Teachers Training Institute, batch 24, level 1. And today my topic is how to improve focus and concentration. So for conversation, Maya is with us. So hello Maya.
Hello. So great to be here with you and your audience. Focus is such a game changer. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, so will you please tell our audience that what exactly do you mean by focus and concentration, and why are they important in our daily lives?
Focus is basically the ability to zero in on one thing while tuning everything else out. And concentration is what keeps you there in a world where everything is fighting for our attention. Being able to actually hold on to a thought is like having a superpower. It's the difference between spending 4 hours on a project and actually getting it done in one. When you can focus, you stop leaking energy into a dozen different directions and start making real progress. It's honestly a relief when it finally clicks.
Okay, so why do so many
What do I
people struggle to maintain their focus in today's digital world?
I think the biggest issue is that our attention has become a product. We're basically in a war for our focus. Everything from social media apps to news notifications is designed by some of the smartest engineers in the world to be as addictive as possible. It's not just bad habits. The digital world is literally engineered to keep us clicking. Then you have the tab culture where we think we're being productive by multitasking, but really we're just rapidly switching between tasks and wearing our brains out in the process.
Okay, so how do smartphones and social media affect our ability to concentrate?
Smartphones are like attention magnets, and social media is the glue that keeps us stuck. Every notification triggers a hit of dopamine, which trains our brains to crave a constant stream of tiny, shallow rewards. Over time, we lose the appetite for deep work, those big, meaningful tasks that take effort and patience. It's essentially training our brains to be chronically distracted, making it feel almost physically painful to sit with a single thought for more than a few minutes.
So, what are some common
Mm,
habits that can reduce our attention span?
the biggest one is definitely the constant grazing of short form content. I'm talking about those infinite scrolls on TikTok and Reels. It's basically like giving our brains candy every 5 seconds, and eventually we just lose the taste for anything that takes more than a minute to get to the point. Then there's the habit of always having background noise, like a podcast or music, playing during every single moment of silence. It feels like productivity, but it actually just trains us to never truly be present with one thing. You just end up in this cycle of partial attention where you're not really anywhere. It's a lot.
So, what is the first thing a person should do when they feel easily distracted?
The absolute first thing is to just pause and notice it without judgment. Once you notice you've drifted, the goal isn't to get frustrated, but to simply lead yourself back. I think a great way to handle it is to get the distraction out of your head and onto paper by quickly jotting down whatever just popped up. Then you can clear your mental space and bring your attention back to the task at hand. How would that work in your recording today?
Can working on one task at a time really improve concentration?
Absolutely. What feels like multitasking is really just our brains jumping frantically back and forth, and each jump costs us time and energy. When you commit to one thing, you stop paying that switching tax. You actually enter a state of flow where the work becomes easier, the quality improves, and you finish much faster than if you tried to juggle everything at once.
Okay, how does meditation help improve focus and mental clarity?
Um, I like to think of meditation as a gym for your attention span. You're not actually trying to stop all your thoughts, but rather practicing the act of noticing when your mind has drifted and then gently bringing it back. Each time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain. Over time, that attention muscle gets stronger, so when you're working on a real task, you can spot distractions faster and return to focus more easily.
Okay, how important is sleep for maintaining good focus and concentration?
Sleep is pretty much the foundation of focus. When you're sleep deprived, your brain can't effectively clear out metabolic waste from the day, which makes everything feel a bit foggy. It's like trying to run a high performance app on a phone that's about to die. The processing speed drops, and your brain literally struggles to maintain an active signal on one task. You might feel like you're powering through on caffeine, but your cognitive control, your ability to ignore distractions, and your emotional regulation are the first things to go. Yeah. It's one of those things that seems optional until you're staring at a screen and the words just aren't making sense anymore. What do you think? Take your time. I'm just curious if you've noticed any of those. Take your time.
So,
I'm still here.
so Maya, how does meditation help improve focus? We have already discussed it. So, how important is sleep for maintaining good focus and concentration?
Sleep is basically the reset button for your brain. When you sleep, your brain actually clears out metabolic waste and consolidates everything you learned during the day. Without enough of it, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus, just doesn't fire correctly, and you end up in that brain fog we talked about. It makes it almost impossible to ignore distractions because your brain doesn't have the energy to filter them out.
So, how does regular exercise affect our brain function and ability to concentrate?
Exercise is essentially a shot of adrenaline for your brain. When you get your heart rate up, it increases the flow of oxygen and blood to your brain, which triggers the release of BDNF, a protein that's like miracle grow for your neurons. It helps build new connections and keeps your brain flexible so you're not just focusing better, you're thinking faster. Plus, that post workout clarity is real. It's the perfect way to burn off restless energy and clear the mental slate before you tackle something that actually requires your full attention.
How can students improve their concentration while studying?
For students, I think the biggest win is the Pomodoro technique, where you study in short, focused sprints followed by a quick break. Instead of trying to power through for 4 hours, you do 25 minutes of deep work and then 5 minutes of something totally mindless, like stretching or grabbing a snack. It keeps your brain from hitting that wall of boredom. Another big one is the environment factor. If you study in the same place you sleep or scroll on your phone, your brain gets confused and wanders. Having a dedicated study zone basically tells your mind, okay, we're in work mode now. What else do you want to know about that?
Okay, how can we manage overthinking when it's prevent us from focusing on an important task?
Overthinking is basically your brain's version of a spinning loading icon. You're stuck in the loop and nothing actually loads. The first step is to get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper. I call it a brain dump. Um, just scribble every single worry, what if, and tiny detail that's cluttering your mind onto a piece of paper. Once it's externalized, your brain can stop spending all its energy trying to remember everything and finally focus on the task at hand. Absolutely. I think I might have just been too quick to agree there. What was your question?
Okay, so how important is our work or study environment when it comes to maintaining concentration?
Our environment is basically the autopilot for our attention. If you're trying to focus in a place where you usually relax, your brain is constantly fighting the urge to switch gears, which is exhausting. But when you have a dedicated space for work, you build a mental association that triggers focus mode the second you sit down. It's also about sensory management, a desk that's completely cluttered with old papers or a room with a TV buzzing in the background creates visual noise that pulls at your attention. When your physical space is intentional and tidy, your mind can actually settle in and stay there.
Thank you so much, Maya, for being with us and discussing such topic. So, see you again with another topic, inshallah, on the same channel, the Wisdom Talk. Till that time, Allah Hafiz.
It was my pleasure. You're so welcome. Allah Hafiz. Can't wait for the next one.